The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Monday, April 7th. And today is National IEP Writing Day, you guys.
IEP writing?
Yep. You down with IEP?
I do have a special needs daughter.
There we go.
So I am.
There we go. And it's also National Girl Me Too Day today, Rico.
No comment.
Speaking of National Girl Me Too Day, it's also National No Housework Day. I find that very interesting that those two fall on the same day.
They don't have to be connected.
Okay.
You don't do any housework yourself?
Just saying. It's also National Coffee Cake Day, Rico.
Coffee cake? Why me? On a coffee cake.
Jesse,
I do love a little tiramisu though.
See what I'm saying?
You know what I'm talking about?
And Jesse, it's also it is National Beer Day today.
Beer day?
Beer.
Oh man, too bad I'm not drinking beer.
Yeah, it's National Beer Day.
You know, I quit drinking and then I had one beer a couple weeks ago and I got an instant headache. It was crazy. So now I'm just
Jason.
done with it.
Well, you probably shouldn't be drinking that cheap liquor.
It was a beer, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's cheap.
It was a high quality, really dank, nice beer.
That's like an oxymoron.
High quality beer is an oxymoron?
That's oxymoron.
Okay.
It's my story. I'm sticking to it, bro.
Sure. Every craft brewer in America.
What kind of beer was it, Jesse? Was it a nice frothy IPA?
It was a natural ice, bro.
No, it was a really high quality Pilsner from a local brewery.
Oh, Pilsner? Okay, I can dig it.
Pilsner is the highest quality beer there is.
All right. Well, thank you all.
That's debatable. That's what
I don't know about all that, but yes.
Literally every craft brewer in America would tell you that Pilsner is one of any lager really. So any lager is very difficult to make, way more difficult than any kind of pale ale or ale at all.
I cannot. I'm gonna take my gout pills. Next time you come down, man, I'm gonna take my gout pills and we're gonna have one together and we'll have a great conversation about that.
I won't do it though because I get a headache now every time I have a beer at all. Like I get an instant hangover. It's crazy.
Oh, that's not good. Well,
that doesn't sound fun at all.
Then I rescind my invitation.
We'll eat some mushrooms and smoke some weed. That's it.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
We can trip out.
Anyways, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet, and we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms, and we are going to start it off with the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the man styling and profiling off of a fresh weekend, drinking out of a jelly jar. That's right. It is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
I appreciate Jason. Speaking of drinkables, this one's for you. 2024 was a rough year for the California cannabis industry. In addition to losing its crown for selling the most weed in America.
Not really.
Michigan.
That's fake news. You know that. You know that's fake news.
Let me read.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
To Michigan. Headset market data shows that overall sales dropped 10% from January 2024 to January 2025, including a 15% dip in flower sales. But one category managed to buck all the downward sales trends, growing 6% as the only product in the black swimming in a sea of red. And if you found yourself unfortunate enough a few years back to follow advice from the likes of Jason Beck and other naysayers, you'd never believe that drinkables would even still be around, let alone leading all categories across the board in 2025. So keeping it a buck, I actually do side with Jason on this one. I've never been a big fan of THC beverages, and do not personally know anybody that goes out of their way to grab a six-pack or whatever iterations they come in for the weekend. But I was very surprised to see a group of women this past Friendsgiving, and they brought a cooler full to enjoy at last year's gathering. But that's probably the only time that I've ever seen anybody on them like that, other than the ones that we see given away at events. So where are these numbers coming from? According to SF Gates' Lester Black, who dug deep into California cannabis beverage phenomena this morning, the growth is driven by new consumers, most likely not part of anything we'd consider to be cannabis culture, retirees, active parents, and health-conscious users who prefer low-dose, non-smoking alternatives to traditional cannabis. Enthusiasts like Valentine, a 70-year-old MS patient and pot beverage investor who Black interviewed for this morning's piece. Valentine's the owner of Synchronicity Holistic, a bougie cannabis store in Carmel by the Sea, and investor in Cannes. She champions the subtle social effects of THC drinks, and Black says that the 70-year-old is quick to tell you that she sent 3 of her 7 children that she raised to drug treatment when she caught them with marijuana. So, Mama Karen over here. And she's proudly never smoked a joint in her life. Yet she's still a fierce advocate for cannabis, especially if it comes in a drink form. Here's what she had to say. I have never smoked a joint, nor do I have a desire to ever smoke a joint because the delivery is so much better with a beverage. Put that on a slogan, Jason Beck.
Said no one ever.
Black notes that legal pot sales took a nosedive over the last few years, with fourth quarter sales falling by over 28%. From 2021 to 2024 in California, but cannabis beverage numbers have steadily increased over the same time frame. He admits that beverages still represent a tiny slice of the overall market, but they have become a river in legal weed sales. And despite their rising popularity, cannabis drinks are not immune to the challenges in the Golden State heavily regulated market. Many producers are actually pivoting to less restricted hemp market, which allows for cheaper production and interstate sales, although hemp drinks were temporarily banned in California by Governor Gavin Newsom. Retailers are hesitant to invest further in weed drinks due to uncertainty around the hemp ban's duration, though consumer interest remains strong, especially among those replacing alcohol with cannabis. So I guess this kind of solves the mystery as to who all these alleged cannabis drinkers are. Not us. And also where they have been. Nowhere we would probably be. But I do think that the fact that the non-cannabis community is buying the shit out of these things because we don't really fuck with them, and they got zero interest in being part of what we know to be quote unquote cannabis culture. So it makes you wonder. I'm all about following the money, and I've been saying this back in 2017. It was only a matter of time before someone or something came along as a true go-to for senior citizens, the deepest pocketed, most reliable and loyal customer category in the game. But with 3+ years of somewhat reliable data on drinkables logged now, showing that active parents and massive wellness community are really, really into this shit, slowly and steadily growing the beverage lane's market share. To me, it raises the question of how much time is left on the clock for actual cannabis culture. We are under attack here, y'all. I'm Rico Lamitte, dad on the street for High at Night News. What y'all think, man? Like numbers are down everywhere.
Down. Well, you know, this is a total bullshit propaganda piece right here, Rico, first of all. Okay.
Just citing data on here, it doesn't make it.
I mean, you know, I personally, I agree with Steve Blessingham. He says it's easy to double your sales when you go from 100 to 200.
They've been consistently doubling and tripling.
Yeah,
continuing to grow.
But since your numbers are so low,
okay,
who cares?
What I'm saying, they're the only ones continuing to climb year over year, and everything.
That's because they're so low. That's because they're so low. Of course, they're going to continue to climb. Of course, because they're already at the bottom. There's only one way they could go is up.
Yarrow, I see you.
Total propaganda.
Something. Yarrow, bring some sense into the conversation here.
Well, you know, when Jason says total propaganda, that tends to mean it just doesn't align with how he sees things.
Right.
Jason has been a naysayer of the beverage category and will continue to be. So he'd be the last heart and mind I would try to change. I think we need to look at this through two lenses.
Oh boy,
First
here we go.
is Steve is not wrong. Okay, when you're talking about a single-digit percentage of the pie chart in terms of total sales.
Oh yeah, it's small.
About
soundbite that.
Just a teeny little bit, and yet when a teeny little bit goes from a teeny little bit to a 2x a teeny little bit, it still stays a teeny little bit. So I don't want to discount that because that is also data. But what I have been saying on this show for over a year, and I want to be clear, I have no interest in any beverages
at all.
Cannabis, okay? Full disclaimer. But what I've been saying is, you know, this has been a slow moving thing. The person who saw the future was Julian Cohn, and who went over to canopy growth from, what was it, InBev or whatever.
Yep.
And at some point, this is going to be true. It's a question of how much time. And for me, I'm really, really clear that this category is here to stay. It's going to continue to increase. And that, in my opinion, the limiting factor for this form factor has been formulation. And so most of them have tasted terrible, and people have wanted to like them more than they do. And so there's some changes on the horizon. There's some actually really good formulations. I will give you an example of how bullish people are on this category. Can came out with a brand before they came out with a formula.
Yep.
Now, I'm not suggesting that's the right way to go. I think people should be inspired and should lead with their taste buds. But I think that the changes in formulations and changes in nanoparticle technology, can't speak on a Monday, and changes in the emulsion tech are going to continue to allow people to innovate. And the better they taste, the bigger the category is going to grow. So I think at some point, with a humongous smile on my face, I'll be able to say, I told you so, Jason.
I mean, like I said, bro, when you're starting at the bottom and the only way you can do is go up, because it's not like you're going to go in the negative. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
yeah,
I would know about teeny tiny. But yes, I mean, when you're the smallest fraction of the market, your growth, you know, year over year can look a little bit larger than it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, people do like beverages, not necessarily can, but people like beverages. So we'll see. I mean, let's not act like can is not everywhere, because they literally will give it to your dispensary and send you large and larger and larger amounts, whether you order them or not. They're like, here, just take this shit. Please put it on your shelves.
So Jenny Beth, like I said, in my story, like the only time I've ever seen anybody outside of an event that were giving these for free was at a Friendsgiving that me and my wife were at, you know, last year. Do you see a lot? Do you know of any women that be actually buying these, like at dispensaries? Like, I just don't know anybody
sold it
personally.
I mean, like I've sold them at dispensaries. Definitely, I've run dispensaries. I've run finances for dispensaries in the past 2 years, and I've definitely had people. Daily there's people coming in and buying them. They're buying more of the shots than they are the small little. Let me just get this over with, and I think that is kind of a testament to some of the flavor formulations that have been made. But no, I've personally witnessed with my own eyes somebody say, "Hey, let me get a." Whatever, Uncle Arnie sold a lot. They did a nice job with flavor. Actually, didn't hate that. But not my thing.
The best beverage that I've tried so far of cannabis beverages.
Do they fit in that category?
Does who fit in that category?
They all fit in cup holders, Rico.
The non-cannabis community category, like more of like the
I think that's very really uninclusionary kind of statement there, Rico, because
that's what the data is showing, Jason. That's literally what the data is showing.
Just because they're not part of the traditional cannabis community doesn't mean they can't be part of the cannabis community because they consume cannabis. I totally disagree with that.
Oh, you mean the consumers? You mean the consumers?
Yeah.
We're not going to poo away any consumers. Your biggest consumer base, your biggest base to market to is someone who's never tried cannabis before. So
exactly.
we're not going to poo on them.
That was my question. That was my question. The people that you
my favorite one was there used to be, and I don't remember the name of the company. I'm so sorry, but they did like a Bellini and something. It was like packaged like a nice like sparkling wine. So obviously appealed to me. And it tasted really good.
Sounds right up your alley.
It was nice.
The best beverage I've ever tried was actual. You're gonna find this funny.
Water?
No, you're gonna find this funny, Jesse. It was actually a THC beer, and it was called THC Cheer, and it is fantastic. The best cannabis beverage. The other best cannabis beverage that I've ever tried is the root beer. If you ever tried the root beer one, they have like some like really like old school root beer branding or whatnot.
You don't even drink beer though, Jason, right?
No, I'm not. No, but these guys are actually brew beer and then they extract the alcohol out of it and then put the THC in there, and so like it's actually real beer. It's the best beverage that I've seen hands down on the marketplace.
For your demographic.
No, just period. All out of all beverages, out of every single beverage.
But Jason, you just gave
Jason's demographic is.
Right. Jason, you just gave Jesse shit for
I did
saying that he actually had a good beer at the beginning of this show. Like,
I understand exactly what I said. Trust me, I agree with you. And that baseline level of saying that is the best beverage on the cannabis market should tell you a thing or two.
Jason hasn't had breakfast this morning. He needed to eat his words to start the show.
Stop it.
You know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like to me about 10 years ago when White Claws first came out and everybody was shitting on them.
White Claws didn't come out less than 10 years ago. They have not been around for 10 years.
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
No way.
Oh, yes, they have.
Yes.
It's been 10 years.
Bozeman, Montana is a test market for all alcohol products because Gallatin Valley and Gallatin County is the highest alcohol consumption per capita in the country. So every alcohol product that comes out in my hometown before anywhere else in the country. I was drinking them from the gas stations before anyone, and all my friends.
So Jesse, did you fear no law?
I feared no law, but I drank all the claws. The point is that they were poo-pooed for a really long time, and they came out of left field and took over the market.
That's facts.
So. And have created a huge competition. And I think this is the same thing. I think there is a very small market right now that wants to these things, but they're just going to become cooler and cooler because once people realize that this nano emulsion of THC in this beverage hits you really fast and you can drink a beverage and feel it in like 5 minutes or less, people are going to be excited that they don't have to smoke and that they can be indoors and they don't have to do anything special to go outside or anything like that. There's just no fuss, really. And once that gets around, the brands that are in it are going to win it.
I couldn't have said it any better.
All right.
That's a great analogy.
That's a great time for us to roll right into our first commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? And I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
The chat is the authority.
Yeah. Oh, and we are back, you guys. We are back.
Up next, it is the man who stares facts down in the face every morning, and they all back down. The party and partisan, the highest Republican in every room. Here to break us off with a clear contradiction in the rhetorical sense. Jason Beck.
Yeah. Good morning, you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I know I did, and you know what I'm saying. I have someone that is provided me a quote that ties in with this story right here, and so you guys are gonna love this. Because man, oh man, you guys, the DEA marijuana enforcers fail the law, you guys. The DEA chief counsel attorney, Aarathi Haig, I wonder if he's related to Melinda Haig, not in good standing. In a quote, they say, "This isn't just about paperwork, you guys. It's about a pattern of disregard for the law," said Dwayne Boyce. Why isn't this rolling?
Oh, teleprompter's broken.
No, it's not rolling. Hold on a second, bro. Hold on. It was working a minute ago. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
You know what? I'm just gonna go and pull up the story. So hold on a second. I'm not sure why it's not working, but that's kind of weird. It's never done that before, but
it's a Monday.
Hey, you know what? It's Monday. You're right. Here we go.
Yeah, usually.
I apologize. Yeah. Aarathi D. Haig, the DEA attorney, central to the agency's controversial handling of MMJ Biopharma Cultivation's bulk manufacturer's cannabis research application, is not in good standing with the New Jersey Bar, you guys. A February 2023 letter from the New Jersey Board of Bar Examiners states that Haig is ineligible for a certificate of good standing, you guys. That's right. The United States Drug Enforcement Administration, the federal agency tasked with enforcing the nation's controlled substances, marijuana laws, and pharmaceutical development, now finds itself in the center of a growing controversy that threatens its credibility. The issue isn't just about MMJ Biopharma Cultivation's bureaucratic delays that have stalled vital medical marijuana research. It's about the integrity of the very individuals charged with upholding the law, you guys. Aarathi Haig, the DEA attorney representing the agency in the high-profile lawsuit filed by MMJ Biopharma Cultivation, is currently listed as not in good standing to practice law in New Jersey. Her lapsed status due to non-compliance with continuing legal education, the CLEIOLTA, client trust funds, and mandatory fee obligations, files in the face of both state and federal ethics requirements. This isn't a clerical error. It's a serious breach of professional conduct that calls into question the agency's oversight and ethical standards, you guys. According to Section 28 U.S.C. funny sign 530B, federal attorneys are required to abide by the ethical rules of the states in which they are licensed. Toothy Haig's inability to maintain good standing with the New Jersey bar is a direct violation of the statute, and the Department of Justice own ethics handbook outlines fundamental principles, honesty, integrity, and adherence to the law, which are undermined when an attorney fails to meet even with the most basic professional obligations. This is not a minor technicality. MMJ Biopharma Cultivation, a company seeking to develop cannabis-based pharmaceuticals for Huntington's disease and multiple sclerosis, has waited 7 years for DEA approval to conduct its research and grow specific marijuana cultivars. The agency's delays have prompted a federal lawsuit, and now we learn that its legal representative may not even be ethically authorized to appear in court. This development not only bolsters MMJ's case, but paints a troubling picture of selective enforcement and double standards. When private citizens or companies fall short of the compliance, the DEA acts swiftly and decisively. And when there is no comparable urgency, when the failure comes from within its own ranks, the agency's silence on the matter is not just a public relations problem, it's a breach of public trust. The public deserves answers. And has the DEA taken disciplinary action? Has Aarathi Haig, the DEA attorney, been removed from the case? What mechanisms exist within the DEA to ensure their attorneys meet the same standards the agency enforces on others? Congress must act. Oversight hearings must be conveyed, and the DEA should be held accountable, not only for its handling of MMJ's biopharma cultivations application, but for its internal ethical failures. The revelations about Haig offer a rare glimpse into an agency in need of reform that ensures fairness, transparency, and accountability at all levels. At a time when the nation is reconsidering its approach to cannabis, we must also reconsider who is enforcing the law and whether they are living up to the standards they demand of others. When the enforcers themselves become the violators, the law loses its moral authority. It's time to restore it, you guys. And man, oh man, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. But I reached out to a friend of mine who is a DEA whistleblower in regards. I sent him over this article this morning and wanted to see what he had to say about this. He says, I have a lot to say about this. She's not the only one. They never comply with FOIA. Their dirt tricks and fail to comply is their SOP. You should interview my attorney, Kevin Brines, and he can talk your ear off on their unethical behavior.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he also says if you file a FOIA with the DEA, you have to sue them. They don't come otherwise, and even then they'll drag out their response for months/years, he says. Man. DEA seems like they're about to experience a shitstorm going on.
Well, raise your hand if you're surprised.
I'm not surprised at all.
All right.
No way. The DEA's always been.
Anybody would be on this.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I'm glad it's finally being reported on. I could tell you that much. You have anything you want to say on this, Yarrow?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that if you're going to be an attorney for the government, you probably still need to be in good standing as an attorney with the regulatory bodies that are sanctioned by the government to make sure that attorneys are doing what they need to do to be an attorney. So I can't think of like any other world that this makes sense. If you are driving trucks for the government to help maintain the Panama Canal, probably need to maintain a driver's license to drive those trucks for the government. So if you are lawyering for the government, you probably need to maintain whatever standards are necessary to be able to continue to lawyer. So it's but I think Jenny really hit the nail on the head. Like, is anybody surprised? I mean, the accountability, omnidirectional accountability, is something that I think the left and the right and the center can all agree doesn't exist. Doesn't exist when it comes to legislative or executive branch, but also hasn't existed in a really pronounced way in most law enforcement agencies, whether they're on the law side or the enforcement side. There is not omnidirectional accountability and the transparency that would be necessary for people to feel like they trust the people who are entrusted to work for them. And so that's been a problem. And we saw that rise its ugly head 4 years ago with, people being choked to death and the fact that law enforcement hasn't been held accountable. So this is a pattern that we see in this country. And we can't say that this is isolated. And I wouldn't say it's just the DEA.
Yeah, I think you used an excellent example in the Panama Canal. So back in the 80s, there was a whole situation where, and it came through my little hometown, where there was this whole scam where they were expanding the Panama Canal to go up through the east coast of the U.S. and go out to the Atlantic Ocean from there, and blah 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 blah. And everybody got goosed because they thought they had a government contract. So now there's just this giant unnecessary freaking ditch in Brunswick, Georgia. So the government is scamming us over and over and over again. And so hopefully with this administration, we'll see some accountability for that. Maybe, maybe not, but hopefully. I think that a whole lot of nothing burger here, because this is not news, Jason, because
I think it is news. I think it's very news. The fact that this is being brought up like this, I think is newsworthy all within itself, Jenny. I totally disagree.
People have been kicking and bitching and screaming and hollering about it for years.
And this at the same time, we see other examples of this same type of thing when we watch the rescheduling hearings, when the judge was chastising the DEA in regards to how they chose their expert witnesses. Yes, and they're forthcoming on the documents and all of that.
Fuckweed Sabet. So like when we're chastising them, it'll be news to me and newsworthy to me when I see some action that follows this chastising.
Well, I'm sure that we will see some things that come through in the near future. That is for sure. Jesse, you have anything you want to say on this?
Not really.
Okay.
Everybody covered it.
All right. And shout out to the C Word, who threw in a big old super chat, who says, thanks to everyone who came out to Get to the Bag art show at Mirrors Gallery for SF Spacewalk, best community on the planet. So shout out to everyone that showed up.
Stewart, I love that he strategically uses the super chat as part of his marketing budget.
I'm all with that.
That's what's up.
It's not a bad idea.
So he can write that off on his taxes.
No, we are not doing anything like that, Jenny Beth. You're going way too crazy right now.
I'm pretty sure YouTube gives him a receipt every time he buys one.
He can mark it on his checking account. He does his accounting.
As marketing dollars spent.
There you go.
That's cute, you guys.
I would like to encourage you, C-Word, to increase your marketing budget.
Jenny, do you want to introduce Yarrow today?
You always know that I will introduce Yarrow.
Oh, there we go.
But
Yarrow's about to get helpy.
Kitty tattoo that he's showing just a little bit of right now.
Yeah, he's like very. I feel like he needs some like gold chains. He's like very like 70s. Yeah, like needs to be at the disco with his shirt open like that.
All right.
Prospect right here.
We need to get you like one of those little hair patches that sit right in the center, Yarrow.
Or is it
I can't even touch any of this right now.
That's really inappropriate, Jay.
So objectified.
All right. Well, welcome to my world.
For me, the hair patch in the center is not my chest.
Okay.
Go for it, Jenny.
My world. All right, so here we have the Sebastopol Sage, the angriest elf on the high at 9 shelf. If your house is on the market, so is he, and he can help you out. All right. Next up, Yarrow Kubrin is off his shelf and out of control.
Oh my goodness gracious! Thank you. I don't hear any canned applause in the background. It's hard for me to get
it's
to
there.
work.
It was there. I promise.
Oh
yeah,
man. Great. That's awesome. Thank you. Well, good morning, High at 9 News viewers. Monday morning here, rounding out the first week of April. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the like button and weed for the people. Without further ado, my article is from the Marijuana Herald, and it's about Minnesota. So, Minnesota judge orders Office of Cannabis Management to hold canceled social equity marijuana lottery. A Minnesota judge has ordered state marijuana regulators to carry out a previously declared lottery of social equity business applicants declaring the cancellation of the process a violation of state law.
Ooh.
A ruling issued Friday by Ramsey County Judge Stephanie Smith states that the Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management, or OCM, must conduct a pre-approval lottery it scraped late last year. The judge granted a writ of mandamus, compelling OCM to move forward with the lottery, which was meant to give social equity applicants a head start in the legal marijuana market. According to the order, the state legislature gave OCM discretion to establish a pre-approval process for marijuana businesses for their licenses, but made it mandatory to hold a lottery when there was more qualified applicants and licenses available. Smith emphasized that the OCM's failure to follow through with the lottery disregards legislative intent and harms applicants who were already approved. Canceling the lottery effectively casts aside the significant time and investment 648 qualified applicants put into shoring up their capacity to hit the ground running as a licensee, wrote Judge Smith. He added that the advantage intended by lawmakers is lost if there is no social equity lottery. The lottery was initially halted after legal challenges from applicants who said they were unfairly denied. While that case was pending, OCM decided to cancel the entire lottery. But the court found that decision deprived approved social equity applicants, including veterans and those impacted by the past marijuana convictions, of a legally granted opportunity. There is no administrative or judicial remedies available to address this wrong in a timely fashion, short of a writ of mandamus, the court stated, noting the urgency of the situation. Lali Fatea, who organized the petitioners and works with the Minneapolis-based Blunt Strategies, said the pre-approval lottery could occur alongside other planned licensing lotteries in May or June. They could do it the day before. They could do it concurrently, she said. Sean Trelute, I'm so sorry, Sean. One of the petitioners and a social equity applicant hoping to start a cultivation business in Chisco City said he felt vindicated by the ruling. OCM has received over 3,500 license applications so far. An agency spokesman said the office is reviewing the order. Okay, so I think we're seeing some themes on today's show. The first is the government doing what it says it's going to do? Is the government accountable? Are they applying a single standard, or are they just winging it and just swinging it and doing whatever the heck they want to do? This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at Night News.
Well, I mean, of course, because the government is like the honey badger, Yarrow. You know what I mean? They're just going to go and do whatever they want to do, and you know what I'm saying, not care about anything else.
Badger don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I think honestly, I'm glad that they were held accountable here. And I mean, not for nothing, I've said this about every social equity program. Nobody actually expects them to succeed or really wanted to have them. It was a talking point, and it was a way to get state grants and money funneled into whatever cannabis management authority they have, which is why you're seeing the city of LA being sued for it right now, because they funneled funds that were supposed to be grants for social equity operators into salaries and bonuses. So, you know, I think that there's a lot of wrong that is being done in the one program that we had that could have done some right and righted some wrong. So it's frustrating to see.
I totally agree with you on this, Jenny. You know what I mean? We see this happen over and over and over again, and it's almost like social equity is like a state level USAID fund.
I don't know about the equivalency, but I will say that some of these programs, the rollout is, especially some of the funding mechanisms, has been really challenging. I think it's interesting to me that this was started because of a lawsuit by some people who said it wasn't fair. And so they pivoted and canceled this lottery. And then the judge had to say, well, wait, that's not fair to another 648 aspiring entrepreneurs and their investors or stakeholders. I think that that's interesting. And I've seen that in California, too, where there's a vocal minority of people who cry out that this isn't fair or they've been deprived of process. And so these programs cave to the optics and or political pressure, and not necessarily in a way that benefits the majority of the people that are in those systems.
I agree with that. These rollouts have been super shoddy, pretty much in every state. I don't think we have we seen one state actually do a good rollout of social equity, because I can't recall one. Just thinking about it off the top of my head.
I don't know, but I would argue that a bad rollout is better than no rollout, especially when it comes to these issues.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because these people are just getting harnessed down with bad debt and tax liability, Yarrow, and prior to that they didn't have that. So I don't know if that is necessarily is a good thing at all.
Well, they're just used as political tools.
Exactly, they're just used as pawns.
Well, the people who qualify for social equity were used as political tools and pawns of a failed policy before. So at least people are trying to make right on that. So I think it's a worthy cause. I think it's an important conversation. I don't think it goes away. And I think as imperfect as these programs are, the intention behind them is still something we need to try to figure out how to do better.
Fair enough. And on that, we are going to roll into our next commercial, and we are going to be right back. I can tell. Yes, and we are back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. And if you are in the New York area, I can help you with a steady supply of concentrates for your brand, distillate, and all that stuff. So reach out to me whenever you can. I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. That. So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
What?
Yes, and we are back, and we are going to roll right into Mr. Jesse Barney. He's the founder of Barney Design Co., a place where they can help your brand grow to the highest scales possible with that right look and the right touch and the right feel that will attract your customers day by day. That's right, it is none other than Mr. Jesse Barney.
Yeah, thank you. You can probably hear my wife working out right now.
She's getting it.
My story dovetails perfectly with Rico's, and it comes out of MJ Biz Daily this morning. And the headline is, Big Players Enter Hemp-Derived THC Drink Market Amid Growing Restrictions and Bans. Another week, another move from an established company into the federally legal hemp-derived THC market. Organigram Global, one of Canada's largest marijuana producers, announced April 1st that it was entering the growing Delta 9 beverage segment through a multi-million-dollar deal for Collective Project, a THC drink manufacturer based in Hamilton, Ontario. A day earlier, Curaleaf Holdings founder and CEO Boris Jordan touted the release of the company's new energy drink, which combines 10 milligrams of hemp THC with 50 milligrams of caffeine. The hemp beverage market, fueled by shifts in consumer behavior, and government allowances is also drawing traditional retailers and conglomerates into the fold. Recent entrants include San Francisco-based tech giant DoorDash and the parent of Edible Arrangements, a behemoth that generates about $500 million in annual sales from bouquet-shaped fruit baskets via its franchise stores and delivery service. The intoxicating hemp beverage boom, which originated in Minnesota in 2023, has expanded nationwide, but primarily taken root in the Southeast and Texas, and more broadly, in states without regulated access to traditional marijuana products. Minnesota, where recreational marijuana sales could launch sometime this year, is one of the few states that also regulates hemp-derived cannabinoid products. Licensed marijuana operators and traditional retailers are initiating varying strategies to win over consumers while navigating production, warehousing, and delivery challenges as more states enact restrictions and, in some cases, outright bans. Mainstream is crossing over to hemp-derived THC. Georgia-based Edible Brands, a subsidiary of Edible Arrangements, launched its e-commerce marketplace March 20th in Texas. Edibles.com, which is expanding sales to the Carolinas, Florida, and Georgia, had 31 hemp-derived THC products available at press time, including Delta 9 beverages, gummies, and drink enhancers. Edibles brand launch partners include 1906, Heirloom, Can Trip, Happy, and Wanna Brands. Months of internal market research yielded data showing that consumers were primarily using THC and CBD products for sleep, pain management, and relaxation, according to Thomas Winstanley. That's an amazing name. Whom Edible Brands hired in July to build and launch the marketplace. We want to increase accessibility to health and wellness, Winstanley told MJ Biz Daily in a phone interview. When he moved to Georgia, the former chief marketing officer for Massachusetts-based cannabis brand Theory Wellness said he was shocked to see hemp-derived THC products lacking quality standards being sold at gas stations and other unregulated retailers. Under Edible Brands' retail model, shoppers must verify their age before the online transaction and at delivery, which is carried out by Edible Arrangements franchisees, serving as third-party logistic hubs. The company, which is planning to open a flagship retail store this summer in Atlanta as a prototype franchising model, is in negotiations to expand the concept to other markets, Winstanley said. We hope to democratize access to brick-and-mortar success of this industry and do it at a fraction of the cost as the alternative in the cannabis industry would be. As we look at points of distribution and accessibility of products, we see retail as a significant accelerator to that future growth and future success. Canadian cannabis and alcohol company Tilray Brands entered the Delta 9 THC beverage market in late 2024 with its Happy Flower brand of fruit daiquiris and bellinis. And this story goes on and on. As you can see, there's tons of traditional cannabis companies who are entering the hemp-derived THC market, and they are really starting to focus on drinks. As we highlighted earlier, drinks are becoming more and more popular, and they're probably going to get even more popular as time goes on. People want to take these things to parties, and they want to go out and have something that's simple and easy to consume, and doesn't get them too high. Is also pretty low dose. So I think that these are awesome products. They're going to keep winning. I don't necessarily love them myself. I would probably never really drink them. I'd rather smoke a joint personally, but people are going to love them. So get out there and make your money, people. So I'll toss this over to my friends.
More hype around the beverage market, Jesse. More and more hype, just gaslighting people up. And unfortunately, these beverages haven't extinguished any of this gaslighting, because that's what they should be doing, because this is just a big nothing. This is just going to wash down your nothing burger, basically. That's all it's going to do.
Okay. Well, listen, first of all, never send me an edible arrangement. I think those things are tacky and gross. Second of all, it's interesting how quickly people are jumping over. And I think that we see that more in the beverage industry, but I think that a lot of these companies are having success because these aren't cannabis companies jumping in saying, hey, let's do a drink. These are CPG companies who are used to this level of distribution that we haven't been on because we're being state specific, that are used to, being able to roll things out, that have production facilities that we can't fucking afford. And so they're jumping in and they're going to be successful in this beverage sector because they've done it before. And all you got to do is put CBD on the label of something or whatever, and you can add $4 to the price. So I think that it's really interesting, Jason, and I don't think it's necessarily a nothing burger. I think you're wrong.
Well, I do agree with you in the fact that they are highly profitable. I do agree with you in that aspect. I mean, because all of these things are mostly pretty much 90% water, and it looks like Yarrow's about to get licked to death. You're on mute, Yarrow.
Look, I think your opinion is 90% water. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I think history is going to prove you to be wrong. I think the guy who saw the future was this gentleman named Julian Cohn, who went from he worked at in adult bev for a long time, and then he went over to canopy growth, and he saw the future of this category. And this category is slower moving, and history is going to prove that this is a big deal. And we're covering more than one article today, not because we're cherry picking the news, but because it's just a steady drumbeat. I think, Jason, that you need to show us where on your wallet a bad beverage investment hurt you, because I don't understand why you're so against it.
It's not that I'm against it. I think it's stupid.
And I think the world is about data points, and your opinion will be a minority in the future.
It's not.
Oh.
That's not.
Oh.
But that's cute though, Yarrow. That's real cute. Real cute. Real cute.
I gotta run.
I disagree. I disagree with all that. But it's all right. It's all right, Yarrow. Obviously, you got to go and, you know what I'm saying, take the dog for a walk. And we're going to roll into our final commercial while we do this, and we'll be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, And I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade. And in a GMP certified facility, so you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where am I even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
And we are back. And shout out to the C Word who threw in another super chat who says that SF Spacewalk events are all free to the public and offer discounted pre-sale prices on a hand-picked selection of Northern California's finest strains, which they can smoke with the farmer. And followed by another one where he says, we are tired of weed bingo, etc., and we want excellent weed and excellent cultivars to be the focus of our weed events. Well, interesting. And on that, we are going to roll right into Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's opinionated on top of a whole host of other things as well. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis, a company that can help you get your metric back on track, or maybe even your bio-track back on track, as well as Justice Served, which is a 501c3 which helps justice-impaired individuals get their lives back on track. And here, coming from the track of LA, it is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
I'm definitely not on the track. But all right.
All of Los Angeles is a track.
Yeah, okay, Jason.
Full of potholes.
All right. I'm in Beverly Hills, so I'm doing okay.
Same thing.
I'm not slumming it.
Same thing. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Anyhow. You done?
I'm done. It's all you, girl.
Sick. I'll begin. All right. So Denver. Denver may soon ease restrictions on cannabis businesses, but don't expect that green light for lighting up at this year's 420 festival. By the way, I should have sent Anthony video after video of me smoking and the do not smoke signs at that festival because, come on, you guys are funny. The city's Department of Excise and Licenses recently held a virtual town hall outlining proposed changes aimed at helping marijuana businesses thrive. Among the updates, medical dispensaries within 1,000 feet of a school could be allowed to sell recreational cannabis. And mandatory public hearings, which can cost up to $10,000, could be dropped in most cases. Instead, the city would encourage early conversations between businesses and neighborhood groups to address concerns up front. The changes also propose allowing court-appointed receivers to make regulatory decisions for struggling cannabis businesses. All of this still in the works and would need approval from the city council and several committees before becoming law. As for the city's iconic 420 festival at Civic Center Park, officials are reminding attendees that smoking cannabis at the event is still prohibited and always has been. Despite the ban, thousands line up at the event every year. A few arrests are made, but the rule remains in place. So while the business side of cannabis may get a boost in Denver, public consumption at the festival remains off limits, which is just funny because, okay, sure, we won't. Promise. Pinky promise, Denver. It's a really cool event. If you guys are in the Denver, Colorado area, you should definitely head down to Civic Center Park. It is a great day. There's tons of amazing people there. There are tons of people smoking. And yeah, very few arrests are made. It's usually not smoking related. I smoked right in front of the police many times and no one cared. Because you can't, it's like speeding in LA. You can't catch us all. We've all agreed to go 20 above and yeah, catch us all. So I think this is cool. I think the receivers should be able to make regulatory decisions when they are in receivership, because that is the point of having a receiver run the business. You have failed to do so, so let someone who can do it properly. I also think that I really like that the medical dispensaries within 1,000 feet of a school could sell recreational cannabis, because once again, those pesky kindergartners probably aren't getting past that ID check. So I'll throw it back to you guys, but seems like good news to me.
I mean, I think it's good news overall. It definitely is I guess I would call it maybe like a half a step in the right direction, because like I don't understand why they're not just going to allow people to be able to smoke. It's not like they can control it or regulate it or stop people from doing it. They just want to have the ability to still cite people and write some citations and whatnot and get some money into their government coffers from people that want to exercise their freedom to choose what they want to consume. But you know, it is generally always a good time up there. They get a very large turnout. Almost look
they
like
really don't enforce. I'm trying to find pictures right now.
Yeah, it's not. There's so many people there for them to be able to enforce. Is like they're way outnumbered in scope of things. It's almost like there's like maybe like 10 people that get caught for smoking at halftime during a Raiders game. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that same thing. But meanwhile, everyone else is smoking.
They don't get that much accomplished. It's huge. It's a huge event. I'm gonna find pictures. Hold on, I've got some good ones. For those of you that don't know, I was in Denver for 8.5 years. So, here we go. Here's me smoking with the police in the background in 2018.
Look at that. Look at that. Look
Nice
at
shot.
that. Nice. What do you think about this, Jesse? I mean, you go to Colorado. I mean, you're out there in Washington. You're not that far.
Bro,
Jason, we're
Colorado
getting
is
you a
as
map.
far from me as LA is from me.
No way.
We're giving you a
Yes,
map,
dude.
Jason.
Colorado is an 18-hour drive.
LA's probably longer than that.
No, it's an 18-hour drive from Spokane,
Really?
Washington.
Same
to
way?
LA, yes.
Get out of
Yes,
here.
dude. You
Jason
need to
doesn't
do
know
some
where anything
geography
is. It's
schooling,
okay.
dude.
I do geography all the time.
You need to fucking learn.
You do?
You don't drive enough. You haven't been around the country enough by driving to know. How
No,
far
because I only
you
take
really
private
are.
jets around the country, Jesse.
Exactly. That's your problem.
Bullshit, Jason.
Mhm.
Weed for the people, Jason. Weed for the people.
Mhm.
It's a long ways.
Mhm.
I don't go to Denver that often unless I'm going to Red Rocks to see some kind of music, Humphreys McGee or something like that.
Red Rocks is awesome.
It is awesome, but yeah, I mean, everybody smokes everywhere, anyways. It's just like much ado about nothing. I don't know why they even have a problem with it in the first place. It's the same as any state where it's legal.
I wonder if they have to say it
It's
because of their
actually
insurance. I wonder if they just have to make the notice because of their insurance on the grounds, because That possibly might be it. Have something to do with it.
Here's me appreciating the sign that says you'll get in trouble for smoking.
It just feels like a holdover from Reefer Madness and the association that people have with getting high as an intoxication, which is not accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Getting high is not the same as getting intoxicated on alcohol. You're not debilitated. Don't instantly turn into a monster, which is why we don't allow people to drink on the streets, right?
Yep.
So there's this conflation of intoxication, and it's this semantic argument that's really happening in American culture that we just don't understand, like most things.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm willing to bet, if you happen to go to this festival and if you get a ticket for smoking, make sure you let us know. Send us a picture of it because we want to see it. We want to talk about it. But I'm willing to bet that no one's going to get one. Yeah.
Did you not see the 6 bike cops behind me taking a fat?
I did.
Dab right
I did. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if someone does get one, I want to see it. I want to see, I want to know what cop is the one that wanted to actually issue one of these citations and whatnot. Actually, you know what I'm saying?
They don't, because you know what? I have some friends from high school who became cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're my reason why I'm like, not all cops are bad. Like, don't get this wrong and don't go off in the comment section. I do not fuck with cops. But these guys are also the ones that have been like, hey, bitch, you got a warrant. Get the fuck out of here. I'm like, see ya, never. So, shout out to those kind of folks. But at the end of the day, I can tell you one thing cops have in common. They really don't want to do paperwork. And they definitely don't want to do paperwork over you smoking a joint around 20,000 other people who are also smoking a joint in Denver, Colorado on Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's really not a thing. What I will encourage people to do, and what I do find very, very, very frustrating about this really amazing event, you jackasses, there are plenty of trash cans. Use them. The April 21st, there's always a huge cleanup at Civic Center Park, and it's because the amount of trash is just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
so please, don't be a piece of shit and destroy what is a beautiful park. You have often inhabited by homeless people. Please clean it up.
You have a really good point there, Jenny, because I've noticed this at a number of cannabis events. For as green as people say they are in regards within the cannabis space, they sure do litter a whole hell of a lot. I totally agree with that. I've never understood that. They really don't. They say they care about the environment, but they don't care about it at all.
Yeah, so stop making us use this ugly ass packaging just because you want to see bio whatever packaging. Yarrow, why are you black?
Because he's still on a walk with his dog.
He I think his dog had to, you know what I'm saying?
So he put his little camera cover over his camera.
Yeah, he did something like that.
Or he had to pull up
I swear to God, I thought I heard his
Pornhub on another tab. And
it makes us look shitty as an industry. It makes us look like assholes. Like, if I walk by and I see some kind of cannabis branded packaging, as much as I don't like touching other people's trash, I pick that up because you guys are making us look like dickheads. So please, throw
little
your
good
shit
Samaritan.
Little good Samaritan.
Mylar bags and pre-roll tubes are the worst offenders.
It's all trash. It's all trash. And speaking of trash, you know what I'm saying? I have some trash news for you guys to end this Monday because, Monday is the most important day of the week. You guys are going to love this.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey.
Louisiana may hike taxes on hemp-THC products and criminalize sales to underage customers, you guys. That's right. The legislature could be in store for more conflict over hemp-THC products during the coming legislative session. Lawmakers have filed bills to raise taxes on them and to add criminal penalties for selling to underage customers. Last year, a battle over how to regulate the products and whether to ban them outright stretched into the final days of the session. Ultimately, the legislature did not pass a ban, but lawmakers did lower the legal single serving size from 8 milligrams of THC to 5 milligrams of THC, make it illegal to sell the intoxicating products to people under 21, and limit how bars sell hemp products like THC seltzers. THC, the compound in marijuana that gets users high, is also found in hemp. another cannabis plant. It's all the same thing, you guys, though at a much lower levels than in marijuana. But many hemp manufacturers sell products with concentrated THC levels. And so far, this year's proposed changes do not include an outright ban on such products, but 2 bills that would dramatically raise the consumable hemp tax are likely to face opposition from the industry. That tax now sits at 3%, and House Bill 187 by State Representative Brian Fontentot, a Republican from Trudeau, would raise it to 15%, and a House Bill 235 by State Representative Michael Ecklos, Republican from Monroe, would raise it to 20%. In a statement, Fortnot said the change would generate about $9 million in revenue at a time when the state faces serious budgetary changes, and lawmakers this session face 2 major budget obstacles. If they want to keep a $2,000 stipend for teachers that has been in place for the 2 years, they must come up with $198 million. And meanwhile, if federal cuts come down the pike from the Trump administration, the state could have a bigger issue, since nearly half its spending comes from the federal government. And currently, the hemp tax goes towards early childhood education, and Footnot's bill would not change that, and Ecole's bill, however, would spread the revenue. In addition to early childhood education, the tax would fund criminal justice initiatives, drug abuse treatment, and hemp THC product testing and regulation. And Ecole's estimated increasing the tax to 20% would generate at least $10 million more in revenue, they say. And in a quote, "I don't think it has ever been appropriately taxed," Eccles said. But Joe Garrity, CEO of the New Orleans-based Crescent Canna, which makes THC-infused seltzers, balked at the notion of such a tax hike. In a quote says, "It's excessive," he said. "It only serves to make people pay more money at a time when many Americans are already tightening their belts." Currently, retailers are responsible for paying the tax on the hemp THC products they sell, and generally speaking, Garrity said, constant changes to hemp laws discourage people from investing in what he believes should be a thriving industry. In a quote says, "We firmly believe that Louisiana should become a leader in this industry, and consistent changes to the law make it nearly impossible for companies like mine to invest in this market," he said. Meanwhile, 2 bills by Representative Lori Schragle, Republican from Montreal, would tighten the regulations placed on consumable hemp products last year. And though it's already illegal to sell hemp THC products to people under the age of 21, House Bill 12 would add criminal penalties for doing so. And if the bill passes, anyone who sells hemp THC products to an underage person could face a fine of $1,000 or $2,000 or a 1 to 6 month prison sentence. Underage people in possession of such products would face fines of up to $100. And Schigel said she modeled the bill after the state's criminal alcohol laws, and these guardrails were put into place when the industry was getting set up, she said. The bill also would make distributing hemp THC products outside of state regulations a crime comparable to drug dealing, and penalties would include 1 to 10 years in prison or a fine up to $50,000. Schigel has a second proposal, House Bill 36, that would add civil liability to illegally distributing hemp THC products, you guys. Well, I think the only one I agree with is the penalty for selling to minors. I think the other 2 things are just kind of like all atrocious type of bills and like way more government overreach, and I'm embarrassed that 2 Republicans are introducing a tax hike on a plant, but nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you 2 have to say about this.
Well, say.
First
of all, I would like to say this is my favorite Jason Beck mispronunciation as to date, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show my work on this one because this is a Republican politician's name, and Jason Beck can no way say that he mispronounced that name and call them a buddy of his. So that's good. We can't be like, I personally, I spoken with. I don't know.
I don't know them.
How do you say it again?
I don't know any of them.
So. Yes. Good. Look, we're getting somewhere.
These are state people, not federal people.
I do appreciate, you can't sell this shit to kids. You can't sell it to minors. I think that this is very reasonable. I love that they're kind of aligning it with the underage drinking and the providing alcohol to a minor rules. I think that's a very rational way to actually do this. I also appreciate tax it, fine. There's already a lower barrier to entry than any other portion of the cannabis industry, Jason. So adding a little tax, whatever, fine.
15% and 20% is egregious, Jenny Beth.
Hi, how are you? I'm still talking. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I bet.
Let me cook, dog.
Hurry up.
To the beginning when I first got here. Let me cook, dog. I'm all for paying less taxes in any instance, but if we're taxing a really untaxed area of the industry, I think that's probably fine. I just am really sad to see once again the government saying, cannabis, help us.
The only tax on these products should be a sales tax. That's it.
Yeah, your opinion on these products changed drastically when Parody Gummy hit.
That's fine.
Yeah, so
okay.
let's call a spade a spade.
And I think I care.
Just letting you know.
It's fine. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't that, What do you guys say, Jesse?
This is the beginning. I mean, we're going to see a lot of this, and the rush to the hemp market and to utilize this unregulated space in the way that it has been utilized to make a lot of money really fast. It's just going to end poorly. And people don't read the chess game and the chessboard of how things work. And you swing so hard one way, and regulation's going to come down even harder than you ever hoped.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of that. And didn't we read a story not that long ago? Wasn't it in Louisiana where they started selling the hemp drinks in the bars?
No, that's Minnesota.
I think it was Louisiana.
No, you're wrong. Minnesota.
Wow, Jason. I mean, I don't know. They could have done it as well. I know that we'd spoken about Minnesota doing it because I think Rochelle covered it, but I mean, it could have been both. I'm not positive.
Well, here's the thing that I don't understand.
In the South.
See how I said that politely, Jason?
Or was it South Carolina or North Carolina or something?
Here's the part I don't understand about this bill. I'm very confused. You got to Google, Jesse. The bill also, it says the bill would also make distributing hemp-THC products outside of state regulations a crime comparable to drug dealing. Do they mean like if you're selling products that are above the THC percentage? Because I'm confused as what they mean by that.
That means, I think as a resident regulatory person, I would say that probably means selling it in any way that is not specified within the state regulation. So that could be over potency. That could be, outside of a store where it's supposed to be sold. That could be, trapping little bullshit, whatevers.
Okay. So all right. I can accept that.
Yeah.
I can accept
that.
Does that make sense? Yeah, I can accept that as reason for what they're saying. That to me makes sense. I can accept that.
They're trying to stop a fucking hemp trap market is what they're trying to stop.
Well, they're trying to contain it. They're trying to contain commerce in the regulated spaces of where they want it to be sold. That is really what.
Which is the point of having a regulated space to sell things, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. See. See what I did there, Jason? I backed you into that.
No, you didn't.
You like it?
No, you didn't. I was asking a question.
I backed you in there like an 18-wheeler.
You can keep go back to Dreamland.
Beep,
beep, beep. Yeah. That's very funny, Jesse.
Good way, you got in between the lines. And you
very funny. Very funny.
You're welcome. Thank you. I try.
Do you have any other final thoughts on this, Jesse?
I think that people need to really think about these hemp companies. I wish that the people who are running into this would think more deeply about how they're producing, where they're manufacturing, where their supply chain is going, where they're selling at, how it's being sold, and that you swing the pendulum super hard one way, state regulators are going to come in and swing it really hard the other way.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Aim High Hemp Distribution and Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to CloudMedia.Partners Anthony out there in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.